Hi, this is the Coffee Hour with Liz, where we talk motivation, motherhood, marriage, the goods, the bads, and just life in general, all while drinking a nice cup of coffee. Hi, and welcome back, you beautiful people, to another episode of the Coffee Hour with Liz, with, of course, your host, me. Today's today's episode is a very special episode. Today is my first interview with the one and only Goddess Guidance, aka Anna Romero, aka my aunt. Okay, so as always, you guys know who I am. The quote of the day has been introduced. So, Anna, let's go ahead and jump right in. So question one, if I'm looking over here, it's because I have my phone and I have the questions that I'm going to ask her. Okay, so first question is, of course, simple question. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I don't do much. Again, I am, well, what do I do?
I did fully pay, so I compensated her. So I did. Me and her sat down multiple sessions, working strenuously together. She guided me, and I kind of used that. And like I've mentioned in prior episodes and podcasts, that I would not be the woman I am today without her guidance, from my guides and so on and so forth. So that's exactly how we're connected. We are family members, but as well, we work together in the past and currently. And so, ma'am, go. Okay, go. Sorry, daughter interrupted. Okay, so on to my next question.
You can't apologize for living real life. Real life happens. We can't apologize for it.
Yes. Okay, mom life. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You didn't explain what exactly, well, you did explain exactly what intuitive readings were, correct? Okay. So my next question is, what made you get into this, not this line of work, I guess you could say, but what made you want to start your journey in this spiritual path, I guess you could say?
I was called to pay attention to it. Initially it was just a series. There was events that took place that caused an awakening. And it's not like on TV where you sleep and you wake up and it's like all these, bells are ringing and all the sunlight comes out and the rainbow comes across. That's nothing like what an awakening is. But afterwards you realize that it's called an awakening because you understand that I did feel like I wasn't awake this whole time. But anyways, there was things that occurred that caused an awakening, and there were things out of my control. I didn't choose them, but it happened. And it was at that point that I started to see more of the signs. A lot of synchronicities were taking place. All of a sudden, like, we have a spiritual store here in Bakersfield that I didn't even know existed. And all of a sudden, I hear people talking about it, or I remember, I saw it, as I'm driving down the street, and then I finally stopped one day with my daughter, and then from there it just kept on. It's like I would learn more things. I was, this walking into the store led to meeting this person, let's the work they do, researching this work it's just more and more, like, all these different doors just kept opening. So I just progressed on my spiritual journey without even realizing it. So getting to the point where I am now I can see that I was always on this path. I was always meant to be here, so to speak, meaning that was my purpose, but I just didn't see it. I was so far a not healthy place in my life to where it's like I completely shut it down and disregarded it and didn't resume my path, so to speak. So I guess I was always meant to be here. I know that, but those events that kind of took place took the cover off my eyes, so to speak, and I was able to see the signs, being guided to where I am now.
Yeah, and you guys obviously are familiar that you're with kind of like what she mentioned was spiritual awakening, because I told my story multiple times on this channel as well as my podcast. I mentioned also that it was not like how the TV showed, where it wasn't just like, hey, let me just flip this switch on. And it's kind of weird when you experience it, because you're like, whoa, is this how the world and life this whole time looked? Like, why did I not see this before? So it's definitely awesome when you actually experience it, because you see the world and life and everything else in a whole different perspective. It's like you have, you're blind this whole entire time, and then finally you go to the eye doctor and you have glasses on, and you're like, wow, I could see like 20 times better. So I that's exactly how I would compare it. And so my next question is, tell us a little bit about a struggle you encountered and how you overcame it. Now, before you answer, the reason why that I am asking you this question is, of course, my podcast, my channel is based on motivation. You already know that. So I'm having you here on today for this is because I don't want my viewers and my listeners just to see what I can do to overcome, because I'm kind of like one-sided. So this is the reason why I wanted guests on my podcast and my YouTube channel, is kind of to get, broaden the horizon of that there are other people struggling in the world and how they've overcame it, in their day-to-day life. So go ahead, tell us a struggle that you've had and how you overcame it.
A struggle like before this whole, I was at where I am now, or a struggle where I am at now?
You could do both if you want, like, so that way everybody can see the difference between, your self development, because you're obviously a different person now than you were before. So tell us a little bit of both, so that way we can kind of see it in your point of view.
Okay. So before just giving you just a little bit of background. I was not a nice person. I was very mean. I was very rude, and I was very hurtful. I was very blunt. People would interpret it as, oh, it's not my fault. I'm blunt. I'm just honest. No, there's a difference between being honest, being blunt, and just being rude. And I was all of those things wrapped into one. And I took a tremendous amount of pride of those things. I was very proud of who I was. And that was it. Nobody can tell me nothing. So having said that, when at that point in time, when when something surfaced, I mean, God, I can't even name one specific thing. I mean, overall, I dealt with things one way and only one way. Number one, I would get mad. Number two, I would get in your face. And number three, I would say things so deep that I would cut deep on purpose. And then after that, I would avoid it, never talk about it again. I said what I had to say, and that's it. And to me, I can see now that it was a way of just shielding myself. It's like, I got to you first before you can get to me. And that's how I solved everything, no matter what it was. Let's say, for example, a bill, excuse me, if I was in a huge, debt situation with the bill, I did the exact same thing. I would call them, I'd get in their face and do whatever it is that I could do. And whether it was resolved or not, whether it was effective or not, I just avoided it completely. And literally, I would avoid bills. It didn't matter what kind of situation it was, I would avoid it. That was my approach every single time. That's how I handle things. That's how I work through things. But now it's different. So let's say, okay. A situation, a problem. What specifically do you ask me? I'm sorry, I got one off on a tangent.
It's okay. A struggle,
Okay,
that
struggle,
you
a
may have
struggle.
encountered and how you overcame it.
Okay, a current struggle is not recently, but in January of last year, a year ago, I had spinal surgery, and it required. I was initially supposed to be off of work for just 3 months, and it turned into 6 more weeks, 6 more weeks, and 6 more weeks. When overall, my doctor just decided that's it. You have to be off work a year, and that was typical in terms of healing, but I didn't know that. I thought it was just going to be a quick 3 months, like they said, and that was it. But no, apparently it's like a year to 18 months is how long it's supposed to take, and I didn't know that, or at least I didn't realize it when the conversation was taking place. But I digress.
Right.
So it turned into a year off, and this was, I had submitted to my place of employment to get the approval for the extension, the continued extended medical leave. Well, they didn't approve it. And so what it turned into was voluntary termination, and that was devastating. I was devastated because I like my job. I like who I work for, and I like what I do, and I was devastated. And initially I got panicky and then I got really sad. But then it's like, okay, no, I didn't do all this work to just start, handling things the same way. So it took a lot for me to remind myself that I have chosen to trust in
We're losing her.
the divine process and devise myself, so to speak, and just told myself, okay, this is happening for a reason. This is happening when it's supposed to. So I just gotta shut my mouth and go with it. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be taken care of, and I know that I am. And at first, it's like I had to take a deep breath to like calm myself down to be able to truly do what I was gonna say, and I did it, and I did. I did it, and I trusted it. I walked the walk. I practiced what I preached first and foremost, which I didn't used to do, and then
Yeah.
secondly, I actually trusted how I felt about it, and I overcame that. I mean, I overcame that concern I had, that fear I had, the situation I was in with, employment and being, not being able to work and still trying to heal from my surgery. That was a huge struggle. You know how much I struggled with that whole thing from like 2 years
Yeah.
ago when that whole, pain started, and I overcame it. I'm in a better place without even realizing that it was just going to unfold exactly how it was supposed to, and I would be completely taken care of, and there was really nothing to fret about. I was, through that whole thing, I was allotted the opportunity to seriously not think about anything other than just getting better, and that's that's where I am. So that's how I overcame that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like because situations such as your medical situation and other examples are inevitable. And I feel like us as people we tend to kind of want to stop it because it's not how we want things to work out. So we're like, no, 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 this can't happen. No, no, we need to stop now and figure out a different way. But honestly, I've seen myself as well is that when you kind of just let go and just go with the flow and just hope for the best, as everyone always says, 95% of the time it turns out better than what you think. Now, sometimes in the long run, people see it as a negative type of thing because they're like, no, my life sucks. You could have, in your certain situation, you could have totally just given up and delayed your recovery, but instead you went with it. You let everything happen and you were like, this is how it's supposed to be, this is what I'm gonna do. And look at you, you're recovering, not 100%, but you're recovering a lot better than what you were
I
almost
am.
a
I'm very
year or two
close.
ago. Yeah. So I think that a lot of people just don't trust in the process, and that's the number one thing that you have to do in order to have success in anything, in any situation.
Having said that, when you said no, you want to stop it, that's actually what I was going to do. I was already planning to just abruptly stop my medical leave and just go back to work no matter what. That was my plan. That was actually what I was going to do. I
Right.
even had a conversation with my mom, and I was like, no, I have to go back to work. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. And after that, I asked my mom. She's like, listen. She's like, just listen for a second. She's like, let's just focus on why you're not working. She's like, if you go back now, if the doctor feels like you need to be off, think about why. If you go back now, all you're going to do is mess up your recovery and have to have the surgery again. Because the doctor said that if I something went wrong, I'd have to have surgery all over again. My mom's like, think about that. You're just going to end up having to have surgery again, and then you're really not going to have to be able to work. So she's like, just wait for it. She's like, just wait for it. She's like, be patient. Just listen to what your doctor is saying, and just be in that place and listen to that and that first. And that was part of the process. She was the one that kind of flipped it around for me. And I'm like, okay, she's right. I need to just, first of all, I don't want to mess myself up. That's my spine. I only got one spine.
Yeah,
So I just
exactly.
I didn't want to do all that. So yeah, I did it. And you mentioned that, the number one thing was you have to trust it. But here's the other thing. You have to, number one, why are you believing and why are you trusting? Yeah, we can, me and you can preach up a storm and say, you have to surrender, you have to trust, you have to believe. Well, number one, you have to figure out why. Why
Yeah.
do you want to do that? Do you understand why you're doing it? Is it just because, they're hearing you and I say it, or because, they read it in a book? Understand why you're doing it. Why are you in the place where the question has come up for you to surrender and actually, trust in the divine timing and divine process? What is it supposed to do for you? What is the point of it? Because if you're not there, then everything else is literally just trend following. And, it's like, a sheep in the herd, or, just literally just taking away your voice and taking away your individuality and your own thought process.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's what you said. You have to, it is trust and, believing, but you got to know why you're doing it.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of like this kind of correlates with like my finances. When I was having a lot of financial difficulty, I would kind of not care why, and I wouldn't really trust in the process, I guess you could say. I kind of just gave up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give up. But in my last video, like you said, mom is my grandmother, and that's her mom. Just to clarify. Um, when mom told you like, hey, maybe you should think about it, that was kind of like my mom telling me, don't give up at this point in time. And that's what I preached in my last video was, you always have to. Is that my sister?
I'm not laughing at you. No, your Thea is walking by here and she's like tiptoeing,
Oh,
creeping and tiptoeing.
tell
And
her
I
I
can
can
see
hear
her.
her.
So Elizabeth says she can hear you.
um Yeah, and that's like when my mom had said that, not to give up in this certain specific situation. My mom was like, don't give up, you know how to do this, you can do this. And I feel like during our self improvement, staying motivated, letting go and trusting, trusting the process. We always need kind of like a support team and kind of like a person to give us a nudge, like, just give us a nudge over that line of like, hey, just trust it, maybe there's a reason why. Which is kind of what, going on a tangent, is kind of what where you tell me during a couple of my readings, is you have to trust in your guides. Now when we mention guides and stuff like that, what are we talking about when we mention guides?
We all have a divine spiritual support team. Whether you believe it or not, it exists. It's there. Belief is your choice. It's free will, whatever. That's besides the point. But we all have a divine spiritual support team. And that, that consists of, source, your spirit or God, the universe, however you choose to, the reference that you use. There's your ancestors, you have spirit guides, guardian angels, your angels just in general. You have all these people and these and not entities, but you have everyone that's just, they're a part of your divine spiritual support team. They all come through for you at different moments. They communicate. The guidance isn't always from one, it's from different all the time. It's constantly changing. So again, we listen to your guides. For you, that can mean your spirit guide. Maybe that is your, overall term for all of them. That is, you have a divine spiritual support team all the time. They're constantly walking with you day in, day out, all the time. And that is what we're referring to, is our divine spiritual support team.
Yeah, and trust me, my guides gather all the time. And in the beginning, they would tell my aunt, like, they would literally be yelling at me. And she would be like, dude, you know what you're supposed to do? And I'm like, yeah, but do I really know what I'm supposed to do? And so they were really frustrated with me. And we've gotten better. We're on a better relationship now. I'm actually.
No. You've gotten better.
Yes, I
Because
got
they've
better.
been on the same path. You're actually deciding to listen now. So don't blame
Yes.
them. It's all
Yes,
you.
I am listening now, and so therefore they are happier with me, which makes me happy. Okay, so a last question before we end out the segment. My last question is, how do you find the motivation on days that you feel kind of like loss of hope, like you can't get out of bed or things like that?
It's not so much that I find the motivation, but I remind myself again divine timing and divine purpose. So if I'm waking up and I'm feeling like that and I'm feeling not so happy, not so great, but like I feel like I'm in a funk or something, if something's not right, number one, I start off with like, okay, I'm supposed to be feeling this for something. I might not even know why I'm feeling it, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to give myself the, permission. I'm going to allow myself to feel these feelings. I'm not going to try to fight it. I'm not going to try to convince myself that I'm not experiencing it. I may not understand it, but it's my body. My body is telling me that it needs to shed these emotions. So I'm going to do that. So sometimes it's shitty. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's just kind of sad. Whatever's happening, I got to go with it. I got to let my body experience it, and then just let it go on its own. And sometimes it half a day, I don't know when it's going to happen or how long it's going to take, but I trust the fact again that look, I got to go with it. Let me, shed these tears. I'm supposed to be shedding because again, water is cleansing. So crying is a form of cleansing, or, you just want to be with yourself, or how, whatever it looks like for you. I guess the motivation is just trusting the fact again, trusting, just reminding myself to trust. And that's what I do. So I guess that's the motivation.
And then when you say like you do things like shedding tears and stuff like that, what other outlets do you use to help you during that time? Like, do you go for a walk? Do you call somebody? Or do you like journal? What do you do?
I pray. My thing is praying, and it's not even so much, it consists of praying, but specifically having a conversation with whoever I feel like I need to talk to. That's what my praying consists of. A lot of it consists of, that's what it is. I pray. So I have those conversations that I want to have, whatever it's about, but that's my number one go-to. I mean, second, I would say spending time with my daughter helps. She there's something about her. It's great. She grounds me. She raises my vibration. Just being around her, it's just who she is. That's just who she is as a human being, as a soul. She's just amazing. So being around her and spending time with her raises my vibration. It lifts my spirits, it raises my vibration. So that helps a lot also. And for some odd reason, I can't say the word vibration. So
it's okay. I couldn't say that other word.
Notice like 10 times.
Well, you said shitting, and I was like, "Whoa!" What?
Oh, I forget. I didn't know you were. I forget.
You were like shitting tears. I was like, "Oh, what?"
Oh yeah.
Sorry. What? We're supposed to be motivated.
Shedding tears.
Oh,
tomato.
All right. So
anyway, that's another way.
All right. So before we wrap up this coffee talk with the Guidance, aka Anna Romero, aka my aunt, I wanted to quickly mention that she does have a Facebook page, correct? For the public. Okay. And so she does. I'll give you a second to do all your information, but I just wanted to mention quickly that she does have a women's circle that kind of supports women and meets monthly or so on and so forth. Okay. Well, yeah. Well,
it doesn't kind of support women.
Oh,
it does.
It does. Okay. Well, either way, let her explain. She has a women's circle. She has a website. She has an Instagram and a Facebook. So I'm going to hand the mic over to her so that way she can better explain, because obviously I'm doing a terrible job at it. So the floor is yours.
Okay, well, she's right. I have a women's circle, and we're gathering for the first time on Wednesday, January 6th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And a women's circle is a place for us to get together. It's going to be through Zoom. Going forward, it's going to be through Zoom. It's a space for us to gather, for us to spend time with each other, specifically to be there for each other, just in general. As we go through the ups and downs of life, we're all living life. Different experiences are different, but we're still living life. We still go through the same, bad days, happy days, crappy days, whatever. We're still going through them. And that circle is there for us so we can show up for each other, for ourselves. And, we practice our self-love there, our self-care, even just by talking and being there. And also absolutely self-empowerment, because, we talk to each other. What Elizabeth might, talk about in her experience is going to probably provide some insight as to what I was going through with my experiencing without even, my experience without even realizing it. So just sharing with each other in general, privately and confidentiality is a huge thing for me. So it's, up top there. But that's what the women's circle consists of. And I don't want anybody to feel as though like I have to tell my deepest, darkest secrets. It's not like that. You just really just come in and it's a gathering of women and we just share and listen and support. Okay.
Yep.
And yes, I do have a website, and my website is AnnaMRomero.com. And that's Anna with two M's. I'm sorry, two N's. AnnaMRomero.com. Hopefully Elizabeth will have it in the show notes in the thing. My website, on my website, you can find how to work with me. You can find a link to my YouTube channel. You can find testimonials. You can find my blog, several different things on me, about me, as well as a little synopsis about me and who I am and what I do. You can also find me on Facebook at Goddess Guidance 12. That's on my Facebook. And then on my Instagram, it's Goddess_Guidance 12. Yes, 12 is my favorite number. So you can find me on both of those. YouTube link it's too detailed. You can just go on my website and find that because it'll take you directly to my YouTube. So yes, and if I may throw in something, I currently have a New Year promo that I started today.
Oh,
it is a reading. Yes, I made a new one. It starts today and it ends on the 23rd. And it is a 30-minute reading for $33.33. And just so you guys know, the regular price for that is $44. So be sure to take the opportunity to book while you can. You can find that on my website. You can book through there. And let's see, what else did you ask me?
That was
it, right?
Yeah, whatever you had, whatever you plugged in, like your Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
And I do recommend that you guys do book with her, because I have booked with her through her website and it's very easy to navigate. You just go to book. You'll see the times that she is going to book. But there is a disclaimer, I believe, that once you book, you have 24 hours within your booking time no, not 24 hours. Well, dang. So what is the point of
you said that a little different. You can cancel. You are free to cancel until it comes 24 hours before your appointment. Once you're in that 24-hour time frame, you can no longer cancel.
Okay. So how long do they have to give payment, and what forms of payment?
You have to give payment at the time of booking. You have to give payment at the time of booking. As you go through the process, you have to give payment at the time of booking. If for some odd reason there's a glitch somehow and you manage to schedule without payment, your booking does not exist until the payment is received. Okay. And then, so you might get this confirmation, email, because you selected a date and time. But again, until you sent in payment and I have received, receipt is confirmed, your booking is not booked.
Yes. So make sure you guys do clarify with that. Make sure you confirm that is in fact paid for in full and booked. And I definitely recommend her. And I also recommend you guys following her Instagram, her Facebook, signing up for the Women's Circle. Unless you're a man, obviously the circle is not for you.
And that's not a bad thing. And the reason for that is I'm a woman, so it's easier for me to I relate to women. Easier. In the future, there is going to be something for everyone, but right now it's because I can relate directly to women, so that is where my circle.
Yeah. So men, we are not leaving you out. We promise. It's just not your time. It's not your time. Okay. So our last thing for this episode is I'm going to be handing over again the mic to my aunt, so that way she may pull a card and kind of like pull a card for the collective. Is that what it's called? Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna hand it over to her, so that way she may do it. And always, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Number one, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. Thank you for talking with me and wanting to hear my side of life and my experiences. I greatly appreciate it. Today, the deck that we're working with is the Oracle of Unicorn. That is the unicorns. That's the deck we're working with today. So let's pull a card for the collective. So just give yourselves an opportunity to just be in the moment. Just give yourself time to just focus on you for just a second. No, you don't have to meditate, chant, or quiet your mind. No, just give yourself a second to just be right here. Take a deep breath or whatever you need to just relax just this moment. Nothing fancy, just right now. And then we'll see what our Divine Spiritual Support Team wants to say to us as a collective. Now, listen, Pulling a card for the collective does not mean that every single aspect of this is going to resonate you. Remember, this is for the collective. So different parts of it are going to be for different people. So take what resonates with you and just go. Leave everything else. So the whole thing doesn't have to be like, well, that had nothing to do with me except for that one thing about socks. Okay, then take the socks and go. That's what a reading for the collective means. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing does not have to resonate with you. Remember, it's for everyone. So different things are going to mean different things for different people. Okay. So let's see. And the card today is compassion. Be gentle with yourself. Forgiveness will set you free. See the light in yourself and others. And this card speaks directly to what the meaning says, what the word is, compassion. We can't be so hard on ourselves, especially when we go through situations where we know we could have done better. That's okay. But you know what? We made the best decision that we could with the information we had then and there. And that's it. Regret doesn't serve a purpose. Neither does guilt. Neither does worry. So just move forward. Dang, that clearly did not work out for me, but now I know better. Now I have new information. Now I know that choice wasn't good for me. So now I have the option of making a different choice in the future. Don't be too hard on yourself. Yes, we can all be our biggest critics. If I'm not too hard on myself, then I don't improve. Says who? If that's the case, you assign that to yourself. You assign that theory to yourself. It's not no rule in the world that has to be it. You can design your life to be whatever it's like. So instill some compassion, incorporate some compassion into your life to know that it's okay if you don't do well right now, or at least what you think isn't well, and give yourself an opportunity to move forward. Show yourself new ideas or, something different so that you can choose differently. So you can, you give yourself a chance to move forward, not to be stuck or not to continue to, keep yourself in the cycle of lack of compassion, of constantly just getting on yourself and being, because we have a tendency to be really horrible to ourselves, and we're just mean and hurtful, and that's, I don't know, it takes a while to get past that, but just more compassion, especially towards ourselves. Yes, towards other people, but primarily towards ourselves, because if we don't start with here, then what we give to other people or what we are projecting is just a reflection of how not good we're doing in here. You know what I'm saying? Right. So compassion is the message for the collective today. Okay.
And I feel like that card
was that
card for this episode.
Compassion is always a good thing for every episode. Compassion is great. Compassion is different. But yes, I agree. It was good.
Yes. So again, Anna, God's guidance, I want to thank you for accompanying me on this coffee talk. If you guys didn't already see, my aunt does have her coffee mug. Go ahead and show everybody.
Gifted to me for Christmas by my forever friend Belinda. Thank you, Belinda, for my coffee mug. Thank you very much.
Yes. So thank you everyone for joining us on this coffee hour with Liz. And don't forget to give us both a follow on Instagram. I don't have a Facebook, but go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and yeah. Do you have any last minute words to say before we end this episode?
Just everything that you said. I mean, everything that you talk about, you explain your episodes is exactly right. Just you just believe in yourself and trust that you can make the right decision, and you're gonna move forward in life. Trust that things will get better, but you have to understand why you're trusting. So there you go.
Yes. So as always, everybody,
thanks for having me. Thank you very much for choosing to have a conversation with me.
No problem. As always, ladies and gentlemen, if you dream it and believe it, then you will achieve it. And that we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.